All right, Doctor Who gave us the survivors of the Flux. And you end up wishing none of them did. um, so, it's not much of an episode in the sense that there's any real story. It's just in between the rest of the show, series and into the final episode. Technically, I guess it's the final episode, as they will have these specials in the coming year before Jodie hands it off. So, last week's episode was probably the best one they've had. In fact, it might even be the best one of them all. But like last year, I thought the Ascension of the Cybermen was, sort of okay, pretty good. And then Timeless Children, rather, followed that. And so, it just destroyed everything. So last week's episode was really good. So, do we get a really bad one? Well, I think it's just in between what the final one will be. So there's a lot to conclude here that, yes, as predicted, that Chibnall's just going to double down on the whole Timeless Child crap. Because the Doctor, after being abducted by the Weeping Angels and turned into a Weeping Angel and then brought to Division, and lo and behold, who's the head of Division? Well, it's Tectuine, the old lady and whatnot. And one thing I'll say they got right is she's clearly a villain. Because, she tortured that kid over and over again to get it to regenerate, and so she could steal the secret of regeneration, even though that's not the original story of where it came from. But anyway, so there she was, and so the Doctor flat out asked her, was the Master telling the truth about all this? And she says, yes. So there you go. So that's the Master lied. Could have been a way to out of it. It appears that no, it wasn't. Well, that's probably the deal, that they're just going to keep the Timeless Child crap, which is just, it doesn't matter that Russell T Davies is coming back. The canon is destroyed. Unless you fix that, then, well, who cares? So Tectuine, he says, yeah, and then reveals the plot, at least for the Division, just, says it, doesn't show it really. Well, they sort of show it. The Doctor's been abducted to a point outside of time and space because they're in between two universes. So the original universe that the Doctor's been in, which has been rebooted once already, probably more than that. But nevertheless, it's going to be destroyed by the Flux, and Tectuine says we need to go to the new universe and explore that, and acknowledges a multiverse and all that sort of stuff. So with that there, you could change the narrative here to where all this business involves an alternate universe Doctor. It's right there, and it's kind of cruel that it's sitting there, almost like, yeah, it's right there, but not going to give it to you, that kind of thing. Because at the same time this is going on, and the mystery of who is Swarm and all this, meanwhile, there's this other character that's recently been introduced in these stories. They're basically referred to as the Grand Serpent, which is this mysterious figure who had a jacket kind of similar in look to Swarm, so I just assumed that's Swarm after being, I don't know, severely damaged by the Division. I wanted to turn him into Skeletor, along with his sister, girlfriend, I don't know who she is. So, hey, maybe that's the deal. Of course, the rumors that came out was say it was going to be revealed that these two were the parents of the Doctor and all this sort of stuff. But it is the idea of someone coming from another universe and all that is very much in play there. So another possibility here is that we see the Grand Serpent, and he looks human and everything. But I'm wondering if they're making him passable as the Valyard. Now, the Valyard was a character introduced in Colin Baker's series in the trial of the Time Lord as supposed to be this incarnation of the Doctor between his 12th and 13th incarnation. Well, we're on 13 now, so who could this possibly be? Well, if it's alternate timelines and whatnot and that sort of thing, then that would explain it. And with they're at the cusp of another universe and all this sort of stuff, perhaps that's what this is about. He could do that, and all this stuff about these other doctors and whatnot it's this other doctor. It's not the Doctor you know. I mean, I think they've done this before during regenerations, where a bit of regeneration energy blows off, from the Doctor. Jodie did it, was that significant where this piece of regeneration energy blows, or did that form another Doctor somewhere? I don't know. But if this could be the Valor, then that would finally address that. But there's also the business of being called the Grand Serpent, and a lot of the followers of the Grand Serpent have this snake tattoo. So is this a nod to the Mara, that this character could still be the Valor but join forces with the Mara? I don't know. There's the little snake thing he uses to kill people and then goes back inside him. But the followers got these snake tattoos, and it's not like the one that Tegan had. This one was kind of, coiled and whatnot, but still, maybe, or it's just Chibnall's. Oh crap! I forgot about that. So that's the interesting thing. It sets it up that they retcon yet more that this villain, the Grand Serpent, is responsible for UNIT. He went back in time and set it up, and murdered his way to the top, and just killed everybody who was in his way, except, of course, for Kate Stewart. No, she was a bit of ahead of him. All these other guys who got murdered were all stupid men, you see. And she escapes, so they didn't kill her off. She sends a signal to somebody saying, I've got to go dark, and so that's that for Kate. I'm guessing she'll show up later. And so there you go. It's setting up UNIT and all this sort of thing. There's a police box sitting in the early office of UNIT. So why is that there? Well, they say they found it in this mysterious village that disappeared. So that could be the current Doctor's TARDIS is sitting there. So it sets up the possibility that a lot of manipulating time and stuff has happened from the future rather than things that initially happened and all this sort of stuff. They're down to the last episode next week, so they still haven't gotten to this business of the TARDIS is dying. It seemed to suggest that in the opening of this season, but, they haven't dealt with it since. So I don't know, unless that's something for the Doctor to pursue in the specials. Perhaps, I don't know. It could be this ends on a cliffhanger. Supposedly the cliffhanger is Davros will show up at the end to lead into the New Year's special, which would be yet another Dalek story, So, maybe that's all that is to that. And they won't really conclude this thing, which would be really kind of awful. The companions, all they do is they're on a mission that the Doctor set them on. Apparently, she somehow found time to record a message to Yaz on what to do. So, Yaz is in charge, of course. The men, Dan and the professor from last week's episode, the three of them are going through time to seek out people who had premonitions or prophecies of the end of the world, and that's clues for them to get back to the Doctor, I guess. And eventually it leads them to have to find the Dog Man, which he is with Killmonger's girlfriend, the Mary Sue bestest ever badass. And they're about to be taken down by a whole bunch of Sontarans, but who cares? She single-handedly took out some Cybermen, so they should be fine. So that's all, and it's just all done up to be silly. It's not really all that significant, I don't think. And so there you go. So the only tantalizing thing was that Tectoween shows the Doctor a fob watch, and once again we've got a chameleon arc. So it says once you open it, all your memories will be restored. So that would be the ultimate reveal. Would Chibnall write it? Well, no, she's not the timeless child or anything. It's some other Doctor or whatever. Or it could reveal that this isn't the Doctor at all. It's Romana. No, they're not going to do that. And they don't really have to. I know there's a desire for the whole thing of Jody to have never happened. They're never going to do that. The slight, faint hope that Timeless Child would be written out. But that's about it. So if Doctor Who survives, and if they do that, it's got a shot, especially with Russell T Davies coming back. But you're always going to have Jodie sitting there along the lineup of doctors. That's just that's the deal. And so anyway, that's about it. There's not much to it. It's just a bunch of teasing things. And probably the fob watch, Jodie never gets to look into it or whatever, or it opens up to someone else, or it opens up to Swarm, and then he realizes who he really is, or something like that. Oh, and Tectoween's dead. Swarm killed her, which, I'm fine with that. But, whatever. And they don't really, I thought they were going to give some substantial origins of the Weeping Angels, but they really didn't. Apparently the Weeping Angels here were just contracted by Tectoween and Division to go pick up the Doctor. And that's it. So who are they? Are they fallen Time Lords and all that? Nah, I don't know. So there you go. I guess it's just turning the Doctor into a Weeping Angel didn't really amount to a whole lot. It was just a means by which for them to grab her and take her to Division HQ outside of time and space. So there you go. Oh, and Killmonger, he got zapped by Passenger, which and he shows up in this other world. So I guess maybe it's TARDIS technology within this big dude is just an android or something, and or it's just they're digitized and put into some kind of matrix or what have you. Could be that. So there you are. Doesn't look likely that Timeless Child will be dealt with in the positive. It looks like it's just going to be doubled down on, and that's it, which would just be another repeat of the Doctor giving a speech about, I'm so much more, and that's about it. Yeah, that's great. Huh? So then it would be up to Russell T Davies. Maybe. I just don't know anymore. But again, there's a certain cruelty in that within this story, especially with multiverse and stuff, there's a way out. Yeah, they're not gonna do it. So I'll just see what happens in the next one. Maybe we'll get a surprise, a little early Christmas present. Yeah, don't count on it. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.